Hello everyone, welcome back to Women Studies Shakespeare's Sister. Today we are going to examine paragraph number 10 on page number 10. Let us move on to the summary of para 10. So, from our discussions in the last class, we have seen that a woman with a gift uh, is most likely to go crazy or mad. The situations were not good for her. So, from that point, we move forward. Thus, we have seen that a woman with the gift of poetry was not a happy woman. She was struggling with herself. Why she is struggling with herself? Because her mind, even her mind, was not friendly with her. Her emotions were conflicting against each other, so she was not happy with herself. Everything around her was against her act of creation. The state of mind should be favorable for creation. Virginia Woolf thinks, what was the state of mind of Shakespeare when he wrote his plays? We assume that Shakespeare's was most favorable. Shakespeare's state of mind was most favorable for poetry at that time. See, everything around her was against her act of creation, we have said. Then Virginia Woolf says that the state of mind of the artist should be favorable. If a person is not well at heart, good at his mind, his creational process, artistic process will not be effective. So the state of mind while writing a literary work is very important. So considering Shakespeare, the state of mind of Shakespeare when he wrote his famous works like King Lear, Antony and Cleopatra, we can assume that Shakespeare's state of mind was extremely favorable at that time. No artists described about the process of creation until 18th century. French philosopher Rousseau started it. So Elizabethan England, there was no possibility to identify or find out the state of mind of the writers while writing their best works. It was in 18th century that this practice of practice of examining the state of mind, examining the life of the poet or writers started. For example, writers themselves published books about their poetic process. It helped us to understand the state of mind of the writer while he wrote something. In 19th century, writers started to tell about their experiences via autobiographies. Though we don't know about Shakespeare's state of mind while writing King Lear or Antony and Cleopatra, we know about the state of mind of later writers. Later writers like Carlyle, especially when he wrote French Revolution, then Flaubert when he wrote Madame Bovary, and John Keats when he wrote his best poems. So the main point of this paragraph is that the state of mind of the writer is very important while he is engaged in a creative activity. We we are not aware of, we are not familiar with the state of mind of the writers of Elizabethan England, like William Shakespeare. But still, uh, in the later years, in the 19th century or 18th century, started it. The writers started writing down about their process of writing. So we we were lucky enough to understand the emotions within the mind of the writer while they wrote their literary work. Then para 11. Para 11. From the experiences of all these writers, we understand that creative process is not easy. It is very difficult to write a book. Creativity depends on many things. Even the noise around us may affect the writing. We need to be financially safe. We should also be healthy. Apart from all these, the indifference of the society also affects the writer's creativity. Society never encouraged a writer. You know that society is always against the creativity of a writer. Society never encouraged them. They questioned writers. They tortured artists. They found fault with the writer. It was a majority. It it was a case of majority of good writers. So that is a very famous saying with the meaning that uh, strong poets may die of misery. This means that the state of mind of strong poets uh, most probably will be misery. It is true in case of good writers. Any work coming out in spite of all this, that can be called as a miracle. So, what we understand from this paragraph is that writing process is extremely difficult. The surroundings of the writer, the noise around the writer, the financial condition of the writer, then the health, all these things may affect a writer while writing. And indifference of the society is another uh, problem. Society never encouraged them. So, in spite of all this, if anyone is able to produce a great work, that can be described as a miracle. Then coming to para number 12, these difficulties were extremely problematic for women. So we were generally talking about writers. These difficulties were extremely difficult for women, problematic for women. It was not possible for a woman to have a room of one's own, room of her own. Then it was not financially stable. She was not financially stable. Her pocket money was her parents' contribution. In case of male writers, society was only indifferent. In case of woman, it was hostility. Hostility is something like enmity. So in case of male writers, the society was only indifferent. Indifferent means without any feeling, without expressing anything. However, in case of woman, it was hostility, enmity. Society showed a sort of enmity towards women. Again, the poet says that the research scholars of Newnham and Girton should fill the gaps in this research. Effect of this indifference on artistry measured. So, in the previous classes, we have seen that Virginia Woolf suggested the young research scholars of colleges like Newnham and Girton, uh, they should conduct research about the position of women in Elizabethan England. The Woolf again suggests that the research scholars of Newnham and Girton should fill the gaps in this research. Fill the gap means find out the unknown facts. Uh, so the effect of this indifference on the artist should also be measured. How this indifference or hostility affects the writers, that should also be found out. Scientists conduct scientists conduct tests with small rats. A milk company gives ordinary milk to one rat and grade A milk to the other rat in order to test the effect of good food in one's life. So this is an experiment conducted by scientists that uh, a good milk is ordinary milk is given to one rat, and grade A quality milk is given to the second rat. So similarly, the same analogy can be used here. What grade A food can be given to the artist? See how, or we can say that how can society encourage a writer? What grade A food can be given to the artists? So that is a question Virginia Woolf asks. This paragraph is not completed. We have only taken half of it. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.